Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this community showdown. We have the Empire vs. Lizardmen, Menacing Platypus facing off against Caradoc, Volkmar the Grim, and a Banana Toad. So it should be quite a bit of fun on Oakenshield, certainly a shooting gallery map. Empire does have a cannon, some wagons, and it looks like the Lizards aren't going to be wasting that open space either, coming in with a solar engine. Now, for the forces of Platypus, it is going to be wagons. Wagons are extremely good against Lizardmen. They, of course, can shoot at any of the flying units. They can shoot down big dinos. And if in a pinch, you can use them as a bit of a chariot unit. So I do think that that is a nice tech and always has kind of been a staple in this matchup. Now, a bit of a comeback here for Volkmar the Grim. He did fall off a little bit in the old Warhammer 3 domination. You've been seeing a lot of Boris Todbringer, who again is very independent. He has the healing. He's very good against SEs as well as infantry with his anti-leadership. He can do -12 leadership with the Blood Roar as well as crush the weak. So he's really become the more meta choice. A couple matchups I would say Franz is going to be good because of the magic damage and the real punch he can pack, but Volkmar the Grim has always had a nice niche against infantry spam. So in Warhammer 2, if we're going back to the olden days when the wheel was invented, he was very commonly used against Skaven, very commonly used against Lizardmen to deal with mass stars, skinks, clan rats, all that sort of good stuff, right? He's durable, he causes terror, and is very, very tough to finish off. So I do like the Volkmar pick. I think he's going to be having some nice niche applications here against the dinos. State Troopers, of course, very standard rank and file here for the Empire. Usually the Empire is going to be getting most of its damage from its artillery, its war wagons, as well as its heavy cavalry and lords. The State Troopers are there to just kind of hold for Sigmar and get the job done. So that is going to be it for the Platypus army, as he does summon in some Spearmen. Now, for Caradoc here on the other side, it is going to be a legion of Chameleon Skinks. Everybody's favorite units to play against. These are probably one of the most annoying pieces in the game, although honestly, there's things that are worse to play against. It's just... and they're always laughing at you. You have those heavy cavalry chasing them, and they're just like looking at you, shooting blow darts. Your Empire Knights are running with 54 speed, and you're like, oh, and they just constantly getting away. It's always a good time. But even still, Chameleon Skinks, 4 of them. Nice poke. Be able to punish this Amethyst Wizard. And even against some of the bigger targets, despite the higher armor on war wagons, as well as Volkmar the Grim, they can still wear you down over time. Solar Engine's kind of an interesting pick. I can see it being a bit of a utility piece for maybe sniping down wagons, at least making them respect you a little bit. So we'll see what the Solar Engine's going to be shooting. Very vulnerable against the cannon fire for sure, but we'll have to keep tabs. Saurus into the Sunset, backed up by a Slan Mage of Life with Earthblood and Awakening of the Wood. One of the reasons why you see this spell is because it does trigger the Life Bloom effect, which is going to be healing your entire army for a little bit of HP. So very similar kind of school of thought to the Tomb Kings. Now, Bastillodon here, shooting its laser beam across over at the war wagons, and it does a little bit of damage. You know, it's not the most glorious thing in the world, but even still, it does do some poke against the old war wagons. And we do see the legions of Sigmar marching forward, so it is going to be Sigmar Sons. Volkmar the Grim up on the objective, and, you know, he is good at absorbing Chameleon Skink ammo. He has self-healing via the Jade Griffin, which is the good healing. It's the .20, it's the big, fat, juicy healing. So he can absorb that and heal, and is a nice vanguard for your army. Solar Engine's going to be starting to shoot at the State Troopers, the Sigmar Sons, but this lizard, you know, he wasn't the brightest bulb in his school. He tries his best, but sometimes he just shoots the ground, and he tries his best. You know, he's trying hard, guys. Now, pretty big map here. State Troopers and the mobility of the war wagons, who do have the dominance over the battlefield mobility at the moment, are going to be grabbing the victory points. All 3 victory points, as a matter of fact. Oftentimes in this matchup, what you see from Lizards are Feral Cold Ones and Colden Riders being spammed because they're very good against Empire Cavalry. They can grind down the State Troopers, and they can definitely do some nice work. Huntsman being called in, not bad. Chameleon Skinks do have 40% missile resist, so they're very durable against this type of shooting, but one of the best ways to deal with Chameleon Skinks is either ride them down with cavalry, which isn't always easy, or, you know, just run them out of ammo and hope that, you know, the ammunition they do spend isn't cost effective. On the other side, we do see the Death Wizard up in the sky, so the Amethyst Wizard does get poked and takes quite a bit of damage from the Chameleon Skink. So nice screening here from the Lizardman player, kind of keeping that Death Wizard in check as the Banana Toad appears to be dropping a banishment over here. Now, that is something you do see from time to time. He probably started to cast the banishment, and then he canceled it by casting another spell, most likely in Awakening the Wood. Volkmar the Grim going to be moving on. He does eat and laser, although it looks like that kind of hit the ground there. A little bit of a weird thing. That Solar Engine certainly... a little bit embarrassing, but he does have 146 value, so he has done a little bit. Now, cannon shoot again, just going to be sitting on the Bastillodon the entire game, which is great. I'm sure any Empire player would enjoy that, just kind of having that easy decision to make. And the State Troopers sitting at the ready. Saurus Warriors obviously dominate. Oh, I love that video, by the way. The I hate Saurus one with Carl Franz. I thought that was so funny, but Swordsman moving up, going after the Saurus Warriors, and it's so true. Like, Saurus are one of the most annoying things to kill for the Empire, both in campaign as well as in multiplayer. Swordsmen obviously going to get crushed by these giant steroid lizards, but they do have a little bit of support coming in from Volkmar, which will turn the tide of the fight. Nice banishment coming in from the Dino player, does go through the Sigmar Sons, and does take a very fortunate rotation, as it really butchers those guys, and the cannon continues to saturate in. So decent trading on both sides. Lizards are going to be moving up and securing the points, and the Rams of Sigmar, the War Wagons, getting in there, baby. And they do look like they do a little bit of work. Yeah, not bad. They get in, kind of disrupt the Saurus lines in conjunction with the shooting. On the other side, the Amethyst Wizard most likely going to be dropping a Buna on Cavalry. So you do see Cold Wind Riders coming in. It looks like the Buna going down on Chameleon Skinks. That is a bold strategy cut, and I thought it would be on the Cold Wind Riders, but even still, I suppose he has good answers for the Riders via the Huntsman and, you know, some of the other spears he has in reserve, and the Skinks have really been kind of a menace. I mean, it does take them out. It's not like it's a bad target or anything, but just a little bit surprising. Now, War Wagons across, pulling back. We do see the State Troopers of Sigmar battling against the Star Spears, and they are going to be losing that fight, probably because of the support the Lizardmen did get initially. Far side objective owned by the Empire, and the other two are owned by the Dinos at this point. So we do see objective number 2 owned by the Lizardmen, and objective number 1 owned by the Dinos as well, as another solar engine shot does go downtown against the Outriders with grenade launchers. A pretty good target. Grenade launchers are one of your main staples as an Empire player. Really good at crowd clearing infantry. Also not bad against cavalry and different targets, but the Empire front line looks like it's getting worn down. We see Swordsmen wavering here. Sigmar Sons will hold to the bitter end, and we do see some Huntsmen get partially compromised by Cold Wind Riders. And these are the generic version, the cudgel version of the Cold Wind Riders, which means they're actually going to be reasonably good at killing infantry, unlike the Spear Riders. And I really do like this choice here by Caradoc, going for the generic Cold Wind Riders, because they do very well against Empire Cav, even without the anti-large profile, so you don't really need to do that. And it makes them a little bit better against other targets as well. So, back here, we do see Huntsmen shut down, War Wagons putting a little bit of pepper into them. State Troopers able to re-secure the objective with Volkmar the Grim kind of bouncing about and providing his aid wherever he can. Solar Engine poking away, doing progressive damage against the War Wagons, but nothing too serious. And it looks like the Spearmen are able to move in against the Cold Wind Riders, and they should be able to kind of poke them back. The dreaded McDonald's scheme here for the Empire, always one of my favorites, but nonetheless, the Cold Wind Riders are forced back by a combined effort of the Spearmen and the Huntsmen shooting them, as well as the cannon, which appear to be broadsiding. And now we do see the newly buffed Demigryph Knights. The Demigryph Knights did get some nice stat increases and are a very excellent choice. A little bit less powerful if you don't have access to Lore of Life, which is very meta if you're going to be going demis and wagons, but even still, I suspect that Platypus might have something in the wings, and it seems he's been using his Buna to wear down some of the tankier Saurus units, which really isn't a terrible idea. Now in the backfield, we do see Clever Girls getting in for Caradoc. They are going to be diving the Great Cannon here in the backfield, while the grenade launchers and wagons continue to cause havoc on this side. But the Banana Toad Man, he is not taking no for an answer. He's rolling in on his mobility scooter, and he's going to be trying to do some work against this War Wagon here, so we'll see. Another laser beam coming downtown from the Bastillodon with the solar engine, and the grenade launchers continue blasting into the Saurus on the far side as we see the value very, very even this game. Both players playing a very, very clean game. Demigryph Knight's able to stabilize the cannon. This is going to be a nice pick for sure. Granted, it's just Feral Cold One, so not like a huge value pick, but even still, they'll basically do nothing against the Demigryph Knights and will be dragged down for their efforts, as more Saurus on the side of the map probably should loop their way around and make their way towards the Great Cannon. No Sunmaker this time. Sunmaker is a very common pick against Lizards because of its ability to really, really pound down all of those different skin cohorts and Saurus warriors. But on that same note, it's very expensive, and it's something that's very expected. Most Lizardmen players are going to be coming with a bunch of Pterodons, or will have some sort of a countermeasure to try and deal with your Sunmaker. So I like that Platypus is kind of playing a little bit different and using some things that, you know, might not be the most common, like a Deathcaster, for example, as well as Volkmar the Grim is also a little bit off meta. Cannons, I would say, have always been kind of a staple against Lizards, at least having one. It's good against their cavalry, good against the solar engines. What's not to love? So Volkmar the Grim rolls in. Objective is owned by the Empire, and the Demigryph Knights of Sigmar are going to be moving in, rear charging into some of the Velociraptors, as one of those poor Demigryphs does get popped by that laser, but nonetheless, the Demis do get in there with 29 models and should be able to re-secure the objective. The far side is, I believe, still owned by the Empire, but very sneaky play coming in from our Dino player. Very, very sneaky. Chameleon Skinks moving over. Probably going to be able to ninja this. The Empire would have to send some heavy cavalry, either some Reichsguard Knights, some Empire Knights. Don't want to be sending Demigryph Knights or something like that to chase down those type of units. But this is a very, very close game. Value's close. We do have a Banana Salon who's been casting Earthblood, so that needs to be taken into account. Volkmar the Grim has also been healing too, though, so there's a little bit of a value discrepancy. Platypus is up by a little bit, but I would say that this is a very, very even game right now. Now, on the far side, Cold Wind Riders chasing down Huntsmen. More Huntsmen on their way in, and the Demigryph Knights round 2 coming out. I love seeing Demigryph Knights. They're just the coolest unit ever. They're going to be pushing in on their bird. I guess it's like a bird, lion, beast thing. Yeah, bird, bear, lion. Very cool. But cannon's taken offline. Well played the dinos there, but Demigryph Knights should have a very favorable fight here, as they are a halberd variant, and they're going to be able to trade against these two units well. But the age of the cannon is over. Empire has lost its far side objective, so the Lizardmen were able to grab that bad boy. And now it looks like the Empire is going to be bringing its big terror piece, Volkmar the Grim, shouting the sermons of Sigmar as he rolls through and waves his hammer in the air, very menacing. You know who does all the work on this thing? It's the warrior priest on the back. Volkmar the Grim just kind of stands up there yelling. I mean, he's like the spiritual figure here, but clearly this warrior priest is the dude who's actually like battling and, you know, clubbing at some of the Saurus on the back of the wagon and all that. So shout out to that warrior priest. He gets no respect. Now, looking at the objective, let's take a bit of a macro look here at the battlefield. Objective 1, owned by the Lizards. Objective 2, very firmly controlled by the Empire. And honestly, Objective 3 is pretty lightly defended. So Platypus could just take his war wagons back there and use them as chariots to run over the skinks or send some, tattered state troopers. And he probably would be able to secure that. He does also have a points lead, so he's got a little bit of time to work with. And the Dino army's looking kind of tattered here. We see some Saurus, which again will trade very well against state troopers, but with the Volkswagen, baby, rolling in dirty. Nice Awakening of the Wood. Pretty good damage against state troopers, actually. It does pretty terrible damage against armor. I believe it has 0 armor piercing value. So it really does get a lot of damage mitigated there. But Volkmar the Grim, the Volkswagen dude, back in business, rolling through. And objective number 1 is going to be probably retaken by the Sons of Sigmar. On the other side, we do see some Demigryph Knights just kind of bouncing back and forth, looking for threats as the Lizards going to be spamming out skink cohorts and feral cold ones. Always something you see when there's a little bit of desperation on the table. Folks trying to get those capture weight units to try and re-grab what they can. War wagons are not bad capture weight. I believe they have 3. They count, I think, as monsters. I don't know if they count as cavalry. The missile chariots, yeah, I believe it would be 3 capture weight apiece. So 3 of them, with full model count, is going to be 9 capture weight. So it's really not bad. So wagons, even when they run out of ammo in the late game, I often recommend keeping them on the battlefield just to have that mobile capture weight that can be used as a bit of a Walmart chariot. You can run into the back of things. You can do quite a bit of work. Now, Demi's pushing up. Got the halberds out. I'm going to definitely punish this Banana Toad. Although many a brave Sigmarite has fallen trying to take down a Slan, not because the Slan is able to do damage back, because they're deceivingly tanky. They have a huge HP pool, so Slan can kind of tank while other units are able to come in and support them. Oh man, I can't tell you how many times I made that mistake. Dude, the brave Sigmar sons, 2 of them left going to be running up. It's Hans and Rudolph here, and they're going to be trying their best to battle against the skink cohorts. But that is a pretty doomed one. The skink's definitely going to get in the business. Man, skinks are bigger than you think. Like, you would think they look small when you look at art of them. But the boys are going to be going down. They will be remembered in the halls of Sigmar, that is for sure. And hopefully not Portal to Age of Sigmar. Let's keep them in the old world here. So, Spearmen are here. State Troopers sitting here as well. Volkmar the Grim looks like he's going to be getting a little bit of support from Death Magic. Fate of Buna going down. Now, this I'm actually a little bit curious about. What kind of damage do we see on the Colossadon Hunters? Fate of Buna is doing a little bit of work. I feel like Spirit Leech might be more cost effective, but obviously if you only have Buna, no, he does have Spirit Leech, but no, that's actually kind of turning into some decent damage. Yeah, it's not bad. Demigryph Knights with halberds will fight well, but Colossadon Hunters should pack quite a punch for sure. So far side going to be taken by the Empire. More state troopers moving up. The Spearmen and Swordsmen. No, looks like it's all Swordsmen. Middle objective maybe going to be retaken by Lizards. Lizardmen are probably one of the best factions at the game at retaking objectives, even in dire situations, because of how quick their infantry are. Like, the skink cohorts have almost 50 speed and really good capture weight, so kind of harkening to the ogres a little bit. They kind of have some similarities there. And obviously chameleon skinks have 5 capture weight and can be pretty elusive. They have very good fast armored cavalry and Colden Riders, as well as feral cold ones. So they have some capabilities for grabbing objectives for sure. Now in the back we got grenade launchers coming out. A couple of free company militia, always a great utility piece. They can shoot at flyers and have good capture weight and give you vanguard deployment. So if you're in a pinch as the Empire, having free company militia to move up and just grab the points I think is incredibly solid. But Platypus really doing some cool stuff here with Volkmar the Grim. This objective is owned by the Empire but is being threatened by the dinosaurs. So the old ones are smiling on these skink cohorts as some Golden Riders do make their way in there. And this back objective is owned by the Empire, but is being threatened by dinos. Free Company Militia should be able to lend the capture weight depending if he notices it, and it looks like the Free Company Militia are going to be touching the edge of the objective, but somehow the Lizards actually have a lot of capture weight here, despite these guys and the Spearmen. You would have think the Empire would be able to hold that, but I guess not. Middle objective taken by the dinos. Side objective owned by the Empire. So the Empire is certainly going to need to get another objective back here, or else it could get a little bit dicey. And I think they have the tools to do it. Volkmar the Grim's getting a big terror route here. We do see swordsmen still fighting. Grenade launchers are going to be in position to clear off many of these lizards in this blob fight. And the Volkswagen certainly does not have any brakes. It is moving in. And if they can re-secure another objective, if Platypus grabs another one, I would probably say that's going to be GG, simply because he's ahead by quite a bit right now, and it's already very tight for the Lizards. They can't really afford to be losing these objectives. Soulfire Bombardment does go down, doesn't really hit anything, but even still, it sends a message, that Volkmar is here to stay. Swordsmen should be able to anchor this objective for some time. Many of the wagons very beat up, but they still have a decent amount of models, which means it's a lot of capture weight. You'll notice that Platypus, despite them being really beat up, does keep a couple of them on the battlefield, but is going to be unsummoning these at least one unit, while the other two maybe are going to be moving to the point here. So Swordsmen and Volkmar the Grim, terror routes for sure going to go down. Volkmar is very good at clearing out infantry, which makes me think that he could have a bit of a meta place against Skaven. Although with Skaven, he's slightly riskier because of the prevalence of rat ogres, which are very common. They have good mass and they can do a lot of damage and trap him in place. So it's a little bit riskier against Skaven, whereas Boris Todbringer, with his leadership discouraging effects and terror, I think is better at breaking Skaven positions. But middle objective flips to the Sons of Sigmar super, super hard. As the Free Company Militia shooting into the Golden Riders, we get more Free Company Militia over here, shooting across into the Chameleons, and some Spearmen holding back a Tide of Saurus Warriors and Skinks as well. I don't think the Dinos are going to be able to resecure too much. I don't see any plays on the back objective. Over here, if we're looking at Caradoc's perspective, he does have some Feral Cold Ones coming in, which you can see really good damage against State Troopers. And even still, they have 90 armor. I think Feral Cold Ones are hands down one of the best units on the roster for the Dinos. Such an impactful piece. Another Spirit Leech down. He must not have the Winds of Magic for Buna, so probably sitting a little bit low, but Spirit Leech is just a ubiquitously good spell. It's very, very good. Grenades coming in, more Feral Cold Ones, but the Empire should be able to hold. Steel, Faith, and Gunpowder. We got all three in this game, baby. As Demigryph Knights with Halberds come in as the late game sweeper, they're not going to be letting any of these Velociraptors take the point, most likely. And now it's kind of to that situation where Platypus could probably win on 1 point, and the Empire is dynamic enough that they're going to be able to move over and protect this against any threats, right? You see something come out, Empire Knight, Reichsguard Knight, Knight of the Blazing Sun, whatever. But really interesting. Also, no Empire Knights. Empire Knights are really, really common in this matchup, but, times are changing, man. The meta's shifting. Demigryph Knights obviously could be a better answer with Halberds against, because they'll trade better against Feral Cold Ones and Spear Riders and all that stuff, and just Golden Riders in general. So I certainly see the appeal of it. Very, very neat stuff. I love to see Platypus. He's a very strong player, and I like to see him picking up the Empire. I think it's quite a bit of fun. So in the back, Demigryph Knights with Halberds are here. We do see the dreaded Spirit Leech going down. Looking at the score, 13-26. Volkmar the Grim is absolutely causing huge havoc here. Looking at Volkmar's value so far. Not bad. 2,000 value on the Volkswagen. He is a little bit cheaper than that. I think he's around like 2,000, just over it. In that ballpark. But there's a nice bombardment right there from the Soulfire bombardment. And on the far side, we do see a little bit of a cheeky play from the Lizards, which is good. And in this situation, you would want to go for something like this and basically hope that your opponent didn't notice it. So we do see the Feral Cold Ones move again. Because then if they don't notice it and you happen to somehow miraculously take this middle objective, then you're back in the game, right? But in this situation, I think it's going to be too little too late. The Volkswagen just running through these dudes and supporting a State Trooper. Steel, Faith, and Gunpowder. All three were represented here. That is for sure. As the Grand Hammer of Sigmar goes down, the Lizardmen are going to be pushed back to the shadows. Well, Lustria from whence they came. I wouldn't say the shadows, but GG well played for Talabik land. Let's break it down. Let's look at the value and see what really performed. I love seeing demis on the battlefield. War wagons, obviously very meta in this matchup. One thing that we didn't see that is very common is Pterodon Riders. Yeah, we did see a couple in reserve. That's probably like a preemptive answer against the Sunmaker, because, man, Sunmaker would have really, really obliterated a lot of this army. But I like to see something different. We do see the wagons performing. The cannon obviously paid for itself just shooting at a Bastillodon. The Volkmar, I was like, the Volkswagen. It's stuck in my head. He did great. Spirit Leech and being always cost effective. And the dummies were great. 1900, 1900. Wow, they got one value apart from each other. 1903 and 1902. That's cool. Grenades, Huntsman. Great stuff. Very well-rounded Empire build. And it's different, too, which I really appreciated. And it was a great game by the Lizardman player. Platypus is one of the best players in the entire world. And he put up a great fight and was certainly in that game. So well played to Caradoc here as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. Lizardmen players, hold your head up high. That was a great fight. And, Sigmar he knows what's up. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time. Be back with some more fun community replays. And that's it for today. Take care, my friends.